Hello students of Evaluation Outcome and Research, PSC5032, our online course, which is the LPC addition to the research methods requirement for the LPC. This first week I wanted you to pay close attention to distilling the hypothesis out of the meta-analysis that we have for you to critique. It's going to take a little bit more teasing out than it would in, say, a research article that's based on an experiment. This is based on a meta-analysis. It's the results of lots of projects, the inclusion of which, the criterion for inclusion of which have to be very stringently defined in order to fit in as a meta-analysis. When you're doing a meta-analysis, you're basically looking at the grouped results of all of the procedures in the research articles that were included in the meta-analysis. The statistic of choice here is called effect size, and what you're basically looking at is the difference in the mean on the dependent variable versus the mean on the dependent variable post-treatment. Okay, so you're going to have to do a little bit of teasing to get the hypothesis from this meta-analysis on paper. And if you do it this first week, and if you do each part of this assignment weekly, it will be much easier for you to put it together at the end. So the first part is the hypothesis. Now, what you want to look at is find out what is the independent variable. The independent variable in this case is going to be the treatment for PTSD, and in this case it's a mindfulness treatment done in various VA centers whose interventions fit the criterion for inclusion in this meta-analysis. So the independent variable is going to be the mindfulness intervention. Now that's going to be operationalized in slightly different ways. It's a little more complex than a normal one because of the variety of ways that they implemented mindfulness meditation as part of the intervention. You're going to have to tease all of that out of there. A very simple form of the independent variable would be mindfulness meditation. To operationalize that, you're going to have to include more specifics from each of the sites. In other words, mindfulness meditation as done in this and that research study. Okay, so the first part of your hypothesis is going to be identifying the independent variable, which is the intervention. The second part is going to be how are they going to determine the results of this mindfulness intervention. That's the dependent variable. Now the dependent variable is going to be defined a little bit differently in each of these different sites. So concretizing that is going to be a little bit harder. But let me just put it for you very simply. The hypothesis in this meta-analysis, without being operationalized in a testable manner, would simply be that mindfulness meditation as presented in the various VA centers for intervention in post-traumatic stress disorder will ameliorate the dependent variable, the symptoms of post-traumatic stress as defined by the various centers that implemented this. You're going to see that the centers had some different post measures and those are your dependent variables. So the simple form of the hypothesis is mindfulness meditation will ameliorate symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. You're going to have to operationalize that so that the independent variable is qualified by the way they did it in each of the different centers, and you're going to have to qualify the specific post-tests that were done which constitute the dependent variable. Okay, so here it is again. The simple form of the hypothesis: mindfulness meditation will ameliorate symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay? The null hypothesis then would be mindfulness meditation will not make any difference in the exacerbation or amelioration of post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. Okay, so there you have the hypothesis and the null hypothesis. And if you get that down on paper in this first week, it will make it easier to do this critique of the meta-analysis. Please read the entire meta-analysis during this first week as well. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me, and I will be on campus on Tuesdays. So we'll hope to see you then. Take care.